In a tale as old as time, a scene opens up in Beauty and the Beast on a magnificent ballroom and a waltz between a beautiful princess who captures all of our attention, and then there's that eyesore of a beast. But what if there was something far more profound to be discovered in this scene? Good evening to you, fellow beasts, beauties, and fellow storytellers. This story starts out a few months ago, where I was invited to be part of a project planning team, where there were 9 of us. And together, we came up with incredible ideas and concepts that would ultimately breathe life into this beautiful project. But there was one concept that stood out in particular, and it seemed to command my attention the very second I heard it. And it was this: as a group and project, we were to strive to see the beauty in everything. Now, let's face it, we all know how to see the beauty in most things. It's everywhere. It's in nature. It's in the unfolding of a flower. It's in a beautiful sunset. It's in the way that a cloud gently moves across a moonlit sky. It's in the laughter of a child. It's in a magnificent painting. And it's even in a kind gesture from a person. It's everywhere. But it wasn't so much the word beauty that got my attention. It was the word everything. And it loomed large in my mind and set me off on a journey of inquiry that is what brings me in front of you here today. I decided to start off small, and I looked at how could I see the beauty in these project meetings when there was discord amongst us? And I did. We were simply 9 angels working out a plan. It was so simple. And I started to look a little deeper. 2 years before, I had founded something together with a group of volunteers called the Gratitude Project to raise funds to build a home for orphan children in South Africa, which is my hometown. And every time that I visit the area, I am met with really the hopelessness of the situation and the sheer numbers. Where was the beauty in all of this? And so I started to look. And I looked through the despair. I looked through the hunger. I looked through the hopelessness. I looked through the arid land. I looked through a generation with no parents. And I looked at death that seemed to be crouched in every single corner waiting. And then I looked in front of me. And there was this beautiful group of smiling, laughing children. And there was a reflection in one of their eyes. Their joy is so infectious. We could really learn a lot from them. And in this reflection, I saw it. In this reflection was the light of all creation. And it contained the beauty of the entire universe. And in a split second, hopelessness turned into commitment. And it was a commitment to stand for this beautiful light. And so I started applying this concept of seeing the beauty in everything to as many situations as I could. I looked at past situations, present situations, future situations, dark ones, deep ones. Every single time the results were the same. There was incredible beauty to be found in absolutely everything. And by this point now, I felt that I could apply it to one of the most challenging events that have happened in my life. 15 years ago, my boyfriend of 4 years, Paul, was shot in the head. He was 31 years old, and he died instantly. Where was the beauty in this? And so I started revisiting and wading through those thick, heavy emotions of grief, sadness, despair, injustice, And I'll be honest with you, I couldn't find it. I couldn't see the beauty in it. And then as part of the revisiting, I remembered that during our relationship, Paul had found out that he had a biological father who lived in Holland at the time. We lived in South Africa. And they had started to correspond, and there were exciting plans for them to get together and visit and meet each other for the first time when the tragedy happened. And so Paul's father came out to the funeral anyway, except that he was a stranger to everyone except for me. And so I accompanied him to the front of the room where the open coffin was waiting. And I stood by his side. And all of a sudden, I was present to one of the most beautiful and poignant moments I've ever witnessed in my entire life. It was two identical faces looking at each other, and a father meeting his son for the first time. And it was in that moment that I understood that beauty did not need to replace pain. It could stand right beside it. And so this evening, as each of you waltz around this magnificent ballroom that we call life, taking in the sounds, listening to the orchestra, and trying not to trip on other people's feet, I invite you to take a moment and slow things down. Quieten the music, dim the lights, and look into the eyes of that problem or challenge in life or that ugly beast. Look deep into its eyes, and with all the courage you have in your heart, follow all the way into its heart. Because I assure you that the most resplendent beauty by far is in the heart of that beast. Thank you.